Hello, it is now 3 p.m. local times here in Hanoi, and you are watching at VTV News, brought to you by VTV International. I'm Minh Hằng, and let's now get straight to our headlines. Vietnam, Czech Republic vows to promote economic bond. Ho Chi Minh City economy shows positive signs in the first 7 months. And party and state leaders pay tribute to martyrs in Hanoi. First off for today, now at the Ministry's of Foreign Affairs regular press conference on Thursday, July the 24th, Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình answered questions about the recent incident where 5 Vietnamese women were attacked in China and issues relating to Vietnam's EC. More details in the following.
The recent stabbing spree in China, which killed many and counts 5 Vietnamese women among the injured, was the main focus of attention for reporters and journalists at the event. The spokesman gave the ministry opinion about the upsetting news.
Soon after receiving the news, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs worked with functional agencies to verify the information about the victims. The ministry requested that those injured receive prompt medical treatment and that funeral arrangements be prepared for the dead. Vietnam's Consulate General in Nam Ninh has worked with the authorities of Quang Si Doang Autonomous Region and has asked them to treat the injured no matter what the cost. Vietnam's consular department has also met the deputy Chinese ambassador to Vietnam to discuss this issue.
Responding to questions on whether or not Vietnam is still considering suing China for violating Vietnamese waters, and if Vietnam is continuing to monitor Chinese movements in its sea, the spokesman confirmed.
Vietnam will consistently protect its sovereignty, its sovereign rights and jurisdiction by using the peaceful measures. Vietnam functional agencies have kept a close watch on the actions of the related parties in the East Sea.
Responding to questions on whether or not Vietnam is still considering suing China for violating Vietnamese waters, and if Vietnam is continuing to monitor Chinese movements in its sea, the spokesman confirmed. In response to reports from foreign newspapers that China has dredged the canals in Vietnam's Hoàng Sa archipelago, the ministry spokesperson said. The conference closed with the spokesperson announcement about the ASEAN Regional Forum, which will take place in Myanmar next month. At the event, foreign ministers from 27 countries will discuss issues concerning regional security.
In other news, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh paid an official visit to the Czech Republic at the invitations of his counterpart Lubomír Zaorálek on Thursday. During meetings with the Vietnamese diplomat, the Czech leader applauded Vietnam's monumental renovations achievements and expressed his convictions that Vietnam will play an important part in maintaining peace, stability, and development in the region. The Czech Republic always regards Vietnam as its important partner in Southeast Asia, he noted. The two sides agreed upon a score of measures to forge bilateral relations across a variety of fields, including politics, economics, trade, education, security, and defense. To promote two-way trade and improve investment cooperation, they stressed the need to enhance the performance of the Intergovernmental Committee on Vietnam-Czech Republic Economic Cooperation and create a favorable condition for businesses to strengthen connectivity and intensify market research. Lạng Sơn province in northern Vietnam was among those that suffered the heaviest losses during the recent typhoon Ramasun. 5,600 hectares of crops were damaged and 2,300 farm animals were killed. For many of the locals who earn a living from aquaculture, the storm has left behind enormous difficulty to overcome. Let's find out more in the following.
The owners of this battlefield were about to harvest their crop when the storm came. The rice plants were soaked in water for several days, and once the water had retreated, the farmers were left with a field full of mud. They know that most of the rice is no longer fit for consumption, but are still trying to save what they can. It's easy to see that rice grain have turned brown and rotten. They are only fit for the pigs and chickens now, but some families still have to eat it. The paddy fields were not the only crop to suffer. Tens of hectares of cornfields in the commune were also destroyed. The distress of the farmers does not end here, though. Several newly seeded fields for the summer-autumn crop were also battered during the storm.
The roots of the young plants are done for. We don't have enough young plants for the next season. We need all the support that we can get.
The short-term solution is switching to other crops like corn and sweet potato. In addition, local authorities are helping farmers to buy new cattle to replace those that were swept away by flash floods. However, the province only has limited financial means for this.
The damage from the storm has amounted to $21 million. The province has sent a request to the government for 2,000 tons of donated rice and another $18 million to rebuild infrastructure. In the long term, we will need to construct a reservoir to prevent floods.
In light of such heavy losses, Lạng province is also calling upon agricultural research centers to provide new crop seeds so local farmers can resume production and reverse the damages they have suffered.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng has recently approved a project to restructure the transport sector. The project will industrialize and modernize Vietnam's transportation infrastructure by 2020, as well as create a greener and more sustainable transport environment. The project will rebalance the market shares of road, rail, and maritime transport, reducing reliance on roads. Other aims include improving service quality, reducing transportation costs, and enhancing the competitiveness of the economy. Now, according to the General Statistics Office, or GSO, the nation's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, for July rose by 0.23% over June and by 4.94% over the same period last year. Among the sectors used in the CPI calculation, transport services recorded the highest growth, 0.44%, followed by construction, food and services, beverages, cigarettes, garments, and footwear. Only postal and telecom services saw a decline, which at 0.01%, it is well within the statistical margins of error. Meanwhile, many other goods witnessed slight increases of just under 0.3%. Earlier, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City announced their CPI indices for July at 0.18% and 0.12% respectively. Still in the economic news sessions, Ho Chi Minh City's revenue for the first 7 months of the year is one among many notable economic indicators recently. The city budget deposits reached over $7 billion in the period, accounting for 66% of the yearly estimate and an increase of 14% compared to the same period last year. This is according to the city's social economic report on the first 7 months of the year, which was released on Thursday.
Ho Chi Minh City's real estate market and import-export sector showed positive signs of recovery, with the city's export turnover in the first 7 months reaching $16.4 billion, an increase of 3.5% compared to the same period last year. Among the various products for export, pepper, vegetables, and machinery saw significant growth. In terms of top export markets, Australia and Singapore were two of the country's fastest growing markets, with export turnover increasing by 51% and 47% respectively.
The export-import tax for the first 7 months reaped over $2 million. There was a rise in both import and export and special consumption taxes.
Notably, while import turnover from China decreased, it increased from other countries, including Singapore and the US, where it increased by 45.8% and 28.3% respectively, indicating an expansion of supply sources. This is a positive sign that businesses are taking active roles in expanding to new markets, as opposed to relying on one specific market. Along with these rising trends, the real estate market had also shown signs of recovery. There have been improvements in terms of liquidity, as well as in the mid-range housing sector. Land use tax increased by 84% compared to the same period last year. However, it's not all good news, as the committee is still faced with the challenges of settling outstanding debts. We urge the Department of Finance to conduct thorough checks on projects to identify and collect debts. 100% of these debts will be used to invest in district infrastructure. In recent meeting, the Ho Chi Minh City's People's Committee also announced its socio-economic development plan for 2015. According to the plan, the city's gross domestic product is expected to increase by 150%, reaching a growth of 9.5% to 10%.
Decree 67 is the fastest decrees ever issued regarding aquaculture development policies. In order to implement the decrees, the State Bank of Vietnam has collaborated with Quảng Ngãi People's Committee and BIDV to set up credit support policies for fishermen. Endorsed by the Ministries of Finance as well as the Ministries of Agriculture and Rural Development, the leaders of 5 central coastal cities met with officials from commercial banks and public representatives to discuss the implementations of these policies.
Despite many optimistic responses to the aquaculture support policies, some fishermen are still concerned about the lack of experience in metal boat making here, while others are concerned about the costs involved.
Making metal ships costs a lot. You can easily end up paying millions a year.
Recognizing these concerns, local officials at the conference also identified the importance of explaining the advantages and disadvantages of building metal ships before making the decision to borrow.
We will explain the advantages of using metal ships to fishermen. Using this kind of vessels will revolutionize the traditional fishing habits.
At the conference, a BIDV representative proposed that the relevant authorities follow the model used by Japan and South Korea to exploit the aquaculture resources, with investment in high-capacity fishing vessels and cooperation from big retailers. Processing enterprises can assist fishermen in long offshore fishing trips, as well as inshore an outlet for their catches.
We expect to operate high-capacity fishing boats soon to help improve conditions for fishermen during long fishing trips. With this model, bankers can feel secure in lending money because there are fewer chances for bad debts.
At the conference, representatives from relevant authorities noted the opinions and reactions to guiding circulars. They also affirmed that the circulars will be issued before Decree number 67 comes into effect on August the 15th, ensuring that the policies will benefit local fishermen as soon as possible.
Now, thanks to financial support from the government, handicraft enterprises in the central province of Thừa Thiên Huế have invested in modern equipment and training courses to improve production. These measures have contributed greatly to the restoration and development of many traditional craft villages in the area.
As part of the public investment program, the Doanchang Embroidery Company in Huế has allocated financial support to open free training courses for 30 employees. New machinery has also been purchased to improve product quality.
Over here, we have coordinated embroidery both by hands and machines, so the product will carry traditional beauty with a modern finish. The prices for these products is also cheaper.
There are currently 88 handicraft villages in Thừa Thiên Huế province and 14,000 manufacturing outlets. Most of these are small or super small family business style operations, so the management and technological application towards manufacturing remains limited. Therefore, in 2000, the government launched a financial investment promotion program for the province, aiming towards the application of more advanced technology, skill training, product design improvement, brand building, and market distribution development.
Thanks to the government investment program, local manufacturing practices in many handicraft villages have improved significantly. Through the program, products and markets have seen notable development.
According to estimates, government investment has helped local companies to expand the capital and manufacturing scale. It has also laid a strong foundation for a more sustainable development of local handicraft businesses in the central province of Thừa Thiên Huế.
Now, officers from the anti-smuggling department under the General Department of Vietnam Customs are cracking down a smuggling chain of wild animal products from Africa to Vietnam. Custom officials have recently confiscated a large shipment of pangolin scales from West Africa, equivalent to 10,000 pangolins. Falsely declared as dried sardine, the 1.4-ton shipment was intended for a Vietnamese import-export company based in Quảng Ninh province. Initial checks revealed that the scales belong to two pangolin species protected under the Conventions on International Trade in Endangered Species. The Ho Chi Minh's Customs Department held a meeting on Friday to discuss the fight against smuggling and solutions to handle violations. Despite the detections and arrests of many smuggling and commercial fraud cases, Ho Chi Minh City saw a surge in consumer goods smuggling in the first 6 months of this year. According to the Customs Department, many offenders take advantage of the administration's efforts to create favorable conditions for businesses. The department is working with local forces to handle violations while applying new technology to improve the management and supervision of customs operation. Now, still to come on VTV News, party and state leaders offered incense at the Bắc Sơn War Martyrs Monument in Hanoi to commemorate those who rendered great service to the nation. And Japanese photojournalist opens an exhibition on Paracel Islands in Ho Chi Minh City. That's coming up next on VTV News. Don't go away. Welcome back to VTV News live from Hanoi. A delegation of parties and state leaders offered incense at the Bắc Sơn War Martyrs Monument in Hanoi on Friday to commemorate those who rendered great service to the nation. The delegations included Party General Secretaries Nguyễn Phú Trọng, State President Trương Tấn Sang, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng, and Chairman of the National Assembly Nguyễn Sinh Hùng. The ceremony marked the occasions of the 67th anniversaries of the War's Invalids and Martyrs Day, July the 27th. Also today, party and state leaders laid wreaths at the President Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum, where they paid their respect to the nation's great leaders and showed their gratitude for his contributions to Vietnam's independence and freedom. Quảng Trị province is home to 72 war martyrs cemeteries and around 52,000 martyrs. Thanks to the caretakers, these cemeteries are kept in a good condition. In the following report, we will visit Trường Sơn Martyrs cemeteries in Quảng Trị province to learn more about the duties of the caretakers there.
Nguyễn Tất Quang and his wife Trần Thị Liên have been caretakers at Trường Sơn Martyrs Cemetery for more than 30 years. They take care of nearly 2,000 tombs of martyrs from Hà Tĩnh and Thanh Hóa provinces. Every day, Liên tidies the graves, and on special occasions, she burns incense at each grave to pay tribute to the martyrs. We are closely attached to the cemetery. We take care of the graves as they are graves of our ancestors. Our wish is to ensure the graves here are always well kept and beautiful. Their wish is also the wish of 17 other caretakers at the cemetery. They are in charge of about 10,000 tombs across nearly 40 hectares, the work that requires great responsibility and commitment. Due to the war, Cao Thị Oanh never had the chance to meet her father, martyr Cao Đăng Quỳnh, who fell in 1970. Since 1998, She and her relatives have visited the cemetery every year to burn incense to commemorate her father.
The grave is in better condition than last year. The cemetery is tidier and the engravings on the tombstones look very clear. I'm grateful that the caretakers here have done a very good job.
Cheongsan Martyrs Cemetery is home to war martyrs and youth volunteers who devoted their lives to the nation's reunification and building the legendary Ho Chi Minh Trail. The caretakers here see their duty not just as a responsibility, but as a great honor.
In other news now, Deputy Prime Minister Hwang Chung-hai received chairman of the Korea Communications Commission's Choi Sung-yoon in Hanoi on Thursday. At the meeting, the Deputy Prime Minister said Vietnam treasures its relationship with the Republic of Korea, especially in terms of cultures and education. He phrased the working visit of the Korea Communications Commission's delegation to Vietnam, especially the cooperative programs between the Republic of Korea's Educational Broadcasting System, or EBS, and Vietnam's television, or VTV, to establish an education channel. He added that the Vietnamese government regards education as a national priority. Mr. Choi Sung-yoon revealed that the Commission will work for stronger cooperation and exchanges in education, cultures, and communications. The Ministries of Culture, Sports and Tourism has proposed extending the visa exemptions duration for Russian tourists from 15 days to 30 days. The Ministries has sent the proposal to Prime Minister Nguyễn Tân Dũng and plans to submit the same request for those from countries that have unilaterally practiced visa exemptions for Vietnamese tourists. The move aims to attract more foreigners to Vietnam and provide them with more favorable conditions while they stay here. The number of Russian arrivals in Vietnam rose 12-fold between 2005 and 2013, reaching nearly 300,000 last year. Vietnam is also applying the 30-day visa exemptions for citizens from 9 of the 10 ASEAN member nations. A Japanese photojournalist, Murayama Yasufumi, opened an exhibition entitled Feelings for Paracel Islands in Ho Chi Minh Cities on Thursday, July 24th. The exhibition includes photographs taken during his fieldwork on the Paracel Islands, as well as images of Vietnam's opposing actions during the 2 months that China's illegal oryx Haiyang Shiyou 981 was deployed in Vietnamese waters. The next report has more details.
Murayama Yasufumi's favorite photograph is about Ba Thanh, a 12-year-old girl in Da Nang. Thanh came to visit an exhibition entitled DNA 9152, was run by Chinese ships, and expressed her discontent with China's aggressive actions. Murayama was touched by her sincere desire for peace.
I met many Vietnamese people, and like the girl, they all expressed their outrage regarding the violation of their country's sovereignty waters. As a Japanese citizen, I can share their feelings, and I recognize that their desire for peace is everywhere, no matter what the differences in our culture or language are.
The exhibition showcases the 68 photographs that Murayama Yasufumi took during his 75 days covering China's illegal deployment its oryx Haiyang Shiyou 981 in Vietnam's waters. Notably, these photographs highlight Vietnamese fishermen's determination to protect national sovereignty. It's hard to believe these photographs were captured by a foreigner. I was touched by his love for Vietnam in each photograph. Murayama has visited Vietnam several times over the past 16 years, but has found this most recent visit to be the most significant. He is determined to speak out for Vietnam within the international community.
When I heard that Chinese vessels rammed Vietnamese vessels, I felt that I had to do something for the country that I have been so strongly connected with for over 60 years, and so I decided to come to Vietnam to investigate what was going on. I wanted to get the Japanese and the wider international community to know that the Paracel and Spratly Islands belong to Vietnam.
In the future, Murayami Yasufumi hopes to continue protecting peace and justice for Vietnamese through his work. After all, this is a country that he considers his second home.
Originated from the Quan Ho folk singing villages of Bắc Ninh in North Vietnam, the bonding ritual celebrates the timeless purities of friendship, artistic romance, and musical harmonies down through the ages. However, in recent years, there are growing concerns that this cultural gestures is gradually fading away. In the following, let's witness a bonding ritual event held by the two original Quan Ho villages to see local appreciations and preservations of Bắc Ning's traditional heritage.
The ladies and gentlemen have been up since early morning and have been excitedly preparing for the arrival of their Ngang Hoi counterparts. Ngang Hoi has long been a great friend of Dang Sa, as the two share a profound history of bonding together through beautiful Quan Ho melodies. Having been disconnected for years, their overdue reunion finally arrives today, and the atmosphere is electric.
I feel excited to revive the traditional ways of our ancestors, especially the Quan Ho folk singing culture. We believe it is the responsibility of Bắc Ninh people in general and Quan Ho villages in particular to preserve the traditional beauty inherited from our ancestors.
Hosting the first bonding ritual for nearly 10 years, Dang Sa and Ngang Hoi can finally bring together the necessary vocals and rejuvenate this cultural celebration. The two Quan Ho villages, now among the most elite in Bắc Ninh, will commit to preserving and nurturing the hometown's cultural treasure as brothers and sisters. The intimate tradition of lifetime vocal partnership, which was believed lost, has now had fresh life breathed into it. All the proceedings are elaborately undertaken and exactly according to the original customs, which shows the dedication and devotion of the men and women here, as well as the support of local authorities.
This is one of the ways to help Quan Ho survive. The bonding ritual is like a gel that binds people together as brothers and sisters.
By collaborating with the government, we can also diversify the options of preserving traditional culture. Deep inside, Bắc Ninh people love their artistic traditions. That's the key to preserving Quan Ho.
The cultural integrity that characterized the event gave local authorities new directions for the conservation of traditions in the future. One of those is the role that the government agencies play in promoting traditional awareness and helping to turn Quan Ho into an exciting playground for traditional art for future generations.
And now, as usual, before saying goodbye, let's take a look at our updated weather forecast. And that is all we have for you at this hour. Remember, you can always catch us online at vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. As always, we appreciate your company. For now, goodbye from Hanoi.